Life can change in an instant. If you've been hurt in an accident, suffered from medical negligence, or are facing criminal charges, you don't have to face it alone. At Ryan Miller and Coburn, we're here to listen and fight for you. We're your neighbors, traveling across Montana to stand by your side as your link to justice. Real people, real help, right here in Montana. Ryan Miller and Coburn, your Montana attorneys.
Hello, my name is Kelly Ayat, quarterback at the University of Montana. In the off-season, it's important to do everything you can to prepare for the season. In high school, that means funding your program. In my experience, Vertical Raise is the ultimate online fundraising platform. To broaden your reach of your fundraiser and bring in more money than other platforms. And there are no sneaky or hidden fees like other companies. If you're trying to raise money for your program, reach out to Vertical Raise today.
Down the stretch we come in Big Sky Conference play, and we got a renewal of a rivalry coming up in Missoula as Eastern Washington comes to town, take on the Grizzlies. Eastern Washington head coach Aaron Best joining us now here on Nuanez Now. Coach, appreciate the time. How you doing?
Thank you. Appreciate it. Looking forward to talking some Eagle football.
Well, take us through sort of the scope of your season, because I know the last time we attacked, it was leading up to your conference opener. That didn't go so well, but then you guys rattled off 3 in a row and put yourself right back in the mix. So what did you think of just your team's response, and just take us through some of the successes that have got you to above 500 coming into the stretch run of league play?
Yeah, I would say probably, since Bozeman, like you said, we responded well for a not an old team. We haven't played Sterling, but we played good enough to win ball games, and so we went on that 3-game stretch and knew that we haven't figured out the world's problems or football's problems, but we've figured out enough of our stuff to be able to be on the winning side of things. And then last week ran up against obviously a well-coached, talented Sac State team that Montana beat down in Sac, that decided to run the ball every play but 6, and held our own for about 5 of those run plays that got explosive and kind of got us put in situations where they flipped the field a little bit. But I tell you what, we battled. Offense had scored enough points. 13's not going to win the Big Sky, and so we've got to find a way on third down to again. It echoes some of the same things we talked about going into Bozeman, raising the third down percentage, being better in the red zone percentage, because we're kind of leaning into, and our team is built this year on defense and special teams. So those two have carried us in a lot of the wins. They haven't been pretty wins, but they're wins, and 2 of the 3 legs have done a really good job. We've got to rise the tide a little bit on the offensive side to help the other 2 units out.
I was going to ask you about your defense, because I've been very impressed with those guys, especially after that Montana State game. Seems like they're swarming. I really like your front. I like both the guys that are the single-digit numbers. Those guys seem to play with a ton of heart. And then Jaylon Jenkins, who's going to join us here right after this, I think he's one of the best safeties in the league. But just tell me about your defense generally, and then we can talk about some of the specific guys.
Yeah, I think collectively we've played way more cohesive than we did last year. We took a little bit of the verbiage out, a little bit of the terminology out, a little bit of the schematics out from last year. When everybody wanted to know why the sky is falling, it was in their first year under Coach Sanders. We believed in the young guys that we had coming up. We believed in the guys that were going to come off redshirt. We believed in some of the recruits that we knew were going to play early in their career. Bryce Smith being one of those guys that started from game 1 against Incarnate Word as an 18-year-old. That's not the expectation, but we've got to put players out there that give us the best chance to win. They've absorbed it. We're a year older. And in this case, I think we're a year better because we're a year older. And so cohesively, we've been really, really good. Our backers are playing at a better clip. I think Reed Sun, the addition of Reed Sun has helped that group a ton. So we've kind of found lightning in a bottle there with a 1-year transfer from Wyoming. And we've played together better, had some success along the way, and kind of feel a little bit more, a lot more confident than we did last year, and we've won multiple ball games this year on defense at the end of games, and that's a good feeling to have, because around here we've won a lot of games on offense over the last 2.5 decades, and so the ebbs and flows of those things, we've got to celebrate everybody's victory because we're wearing the same logo. So you mentioned Tyler Jackson, Isaiah Perez. They've both been very steady up front. That's been the strength of our defense from the start of the year, was that front 4, along the likes of Jaira Leah Pepitelli and Justice Laulu and Jade Radke and Trevor Thurman. So we've leaned on that group because of the most experienced group coming into 2025. And the better you are up front, the better you are at level 2 and level 3. And we've done a pretty good job of that this year. We created many more takeaways through 9 games. Through 9 games, we're ahead of where we were last year through 12 games takeaways wise, and all starts up front.
It seems like in this day and age of not just college football, just college athletics, you sort of have to be malleable, right? Like you have to evolve all the time. Like you mentioned, you guys have been winning some games on defense. I mean, you look at Sac, who would ever thought that Sac State would be a team that ran the ball, 60 times in a game, or that Montana would be a team that's, throwing for 300 yards a game and trying to outscore you instead of, leaning on their defense. So it seems like that's a common theme though, across the league and across college football, but across college sports in general.
A bit. I mean, you played your strengths to begin the season. Then I think within the season, I think you play your strengths within the week. Like, what are you strong at? Maybe what can you expose from the team you're playing? And you may go away from that in the second quarter, but you go in with truly a game plan. And I think you're right. This day and age, you may be a throw 60 time for 2 weeks, and all of a sudden you throw 6 times the next week based on climate, based on weather, based on what you're going up against. So you've got to kind of put game plans in basically the offensive defensive phases where if they do this, then this is what we do. If they do that, we got to be ready to be flexible enough to be able to get in different sets and different personnels and different calls. And so it makes the game unique and challenging. But each week, in my opinion, Colter is almost like a season built in within that week. I mean, it's just and then every year is going to be totally different going into the next year with a bunch of fresh faces and new things. So we try to compartmentalize each week as kind of a season within that week. Want to go 1-0, but really it's a season 12 weeks at a time.
Yo, Tara, what up, E?
What's going on? Man, those are some nice medals.
Yeah, man, these are hard to come by.
Yeah, well, I've got 2 of them.
Well, that's nothing like going to March Madness, though.
We did go to a national championship.
Okay, guys, whatever. Let's just get on the Montana party bus and head over to Press Box for lunch.
Yeah.
Nuanez Now and Skyline Sports, covering Montana athletics and the Big Sky Conference better than anybody. Montana Party Bus and the Press Box are also proud supporters of Montana athletes.
Hey, cheers to you guys, man. Cheers to Montana. Cheers to chasing more.
Cash One Pawn, Missoula's #1 pawn shop.
You want money? We got money. You need money? We got money. We're cash.
Do yourself a favor and make Cash One Pawn part of your online shopping habits. Cash One Pawn has an awesome online inventory, everything from firearms to power tools to speaker equipment to jewelry. Visit Cash One Pawn today.
Cash One Pawn.
8720 Roller Coaster Road, CashOnePawn.com.
Aaron Best, Eastern Washington, joining us here on Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio. It's been fascinating to watch this on the basketball front too, right? Like there's a couple coaches in the league that have been around for a while that, it's like square peg, round hole, wasn't happening. They had to adjust and find new styles to play. But it's been fun to watch just the way coaches have been able to adjust because, like we always talk about, there's no changing it. We're living in the world we're living in, right? So you have to just find a way to sort of adapt. Speaking of adapting, though, you guys have had to adapt several times with the quarterback position. I know losing Jared Taylor hurt you, but Nate Bell is such a great player, but then he's been in and out too. So just take us through sort of the saga of Eastern Washington quarterbacks.
Man, I'll tell you what, I don't know the definition of saga, but it sounds about right.
Right.
And it's crazy to think that, and again, I go based off my experiences, having been the O-line coach for a long time here and head coach now going on year 9, or in year 9. I don't know that we've gone through 3. Very few times have we gotten to 2, and now here we are going on number 3 in a season, in a matter of 3 or 4 weeks. And so it is what it is. Obviously rosters are dictated by a lot of different things, but we're fortunate enough to have 4 or 5 quarterbacks on a roster to be able to play. They got to be able to play at the level you intend them to play at, because you can't go from good to not good and expect to compete in this league. And so Jay got thrown in the mix middle of the last game. Weren't expecting that to be the case, but unfortunately, the worst part of this game we play is the injury piece. It's something you can't. It's going to happen. You hope it doesn't happen. I hope it doesn't happen to anybody, but it is what it is. And Jake came in, and here we are on quarterback 3, and he played really well, but doesn't mean he's going to play really well this next game. I mean, each week is its own week, and he's going to be against a different type of outfit, different setting, different environment. Montana's playing for a seed. They're playing really, really well. Went down to Weber and beat a team by 21 on the road last week. A team that we just got by 3 points and didn't score a single point in the second half 2 weeks prior or a week prior. So, you throw all those things out, still a 60-minute game, but we got all the faith in Jake, giving the keys to him, and he's got to make quick, efficient, correct decisions, and he's not scared of the moment. That's just kind of how he's built. He's gonna have some challenges like anybody does throughout the course of a game, especially on the road against Montana. It expedites the challenges, but he's not scared to step up to those challenges and see what he brings to the table.
It's probably interesting for you because I remember Jake Shackle when he was coming out of high school, and because he was one of the hot names in the West in recruiting, everybody was interested in him at least, right? And I know he had a bunch of offers. I think Idaho was in the mix, and Nevada, and even some other Mountain West. So you probably thought he was going to be your quarterback in the future. So what do you think of just sort of
future's now?
The future's now, right? Yeah. But he kind of, you probably didn't want to be in this situation, but you probably kind of like having an elongated opportunity to get this guy some reps.
Yeah, sometimes you get what you don't want. That's
right.
Kind of how we raise our kids at home. Like, get what you get and don't throw a fit. You spend energy on throwing a fit, but then you lose energy on production going forward. And so, he's grown immensely. He's one of the guys on this team legitimately from the time he stepped on campus in fall of 24 till now. He's grown immensely, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally. He's grown leaps and bounds. A year ago, I wouldn't have said, we'll see in a year from now. But I'll tell you what, the strides he's made on and off the field have put him in position to allow him to have these successes. So sometimes it happens sooner than you want it to, or expected to is the best way to put it. But we are where we are. It's kind of like adapting to the culture of NIL and transfer portal. Well, you got to adapt to your roster week in and week out. And we'll put in a plan to give us the best chance and create some opportunities. And we don't need to play perfect, but we can't play sub-average against any team, especially on the road against the number 2 team, number 3 team in the country. So, but we don't want to play we don't want to get in our own way. That's kind of the big push. We're not going to play to lose the game. We're going to play to win the game, but we got to play efficient. We got to play well, and we got to play very, very situational with, what came in as a number 3 quarterback, who's now our number 1 quarterback in game 10.
You're Washington and Missoula on Saturday, so let's talk about the matchup, Coach. First, speaking of things that are different, one of Montana's best playmakers used to be one of your best playmakers. This is a totally new waters to navigate when you talk about guys that are in the same league playing for a different team. So obviously, though, that's going to be a key for you guys on Saturday is identifying number 6, Michael Wortham. So what do you think of the challenge? Obviously, a guy you know very well.
Well, he's an exceptional human.
He's a really cool kid, yeah.
Just the smile is contagious. Outside of Kendrick Bourne, he's got to be top 2 or 3 that have ever been around. Where you're having a bad day, you go hunt up Mike, and he'll change that in a heartbeat. He's a great husband, great father. He's just great teammate, and it's awesome to see his success. They're getting different ways to get him the ball differently than we did here. They're not throwing the ball with him as much as we did here, but they're playing him 70-75% of the game, and they're doing it in different ways and using them as decoys to be able to get other guys open, and that helps a quarterback's efficiency when you got guys like him that can make plays and get him in the backfield. You got some playmakers around you, which then eases Ayat's pressures to putting those things on his shoulders. But Mike's been effective in the run game here. He's an explosive guy, can go at any point to the end zone, and so obviously he's got to be a guy along with a few others that got to be identifiable. But it's not Mike versus Eastern. It's Eastern versus Montana with Mike playing in the same number he was wearing here. And so we've got to understand that he is a guy that we're aware of, and I wish him all the best of luck individually, but it's a team game and it's team versus team. So that's how kind of we're approaching it. But it's been fun to see him continue his success in the last year of his eligibility. I wish it would have been in the Eagle uniform, but it's not. But boy, I tell you what, I'll root for that kid day in and day out from the time I met him to the time he's done playing ball. He's an exceptional human.
Yeah, he got a magnetic smile, no doubt about it.
Design Center. We want to be your jeweler for life.
The local dispensary in Mercantile is hosting a raffle to help out people in our community in need. If you would like to help donate to the Missoula Food Bank to help ease the burden on the thousands of Western Montana residents impacted by lost benefits, swing by the local, either in East Missoula or downtown on the corner of Front and Orange, where the parking is free. Raffle tickets are $10 or 5 tickets for $40, and proceeds go directly to help the Missoula Food Bank. Help support our local friends and neighbors by buying raffle tickets from the local dispensary. And remember, keep it local.
Well, but you mentioned it. It's just a mechanism of what Montana has evolved into offensively, and they got a ton of playmakers, ton of speed. Gilman seems like the guy that's the trigger point is the running back, but obviously Ayat's playing very well. Brooks Davis, number 3, is playing good ball too. So where do you start with just slowing down the whole unit for the Grizzlies?
Allows guys to step up, and all of a sudden, then the tight ends are in the mix. You start forgetting about the tight ends, and all of a sudden now they're catching a ball off play action wide open because your identification, you're looking at 3, you're looking at 7, you're looking at 10, you're looking at 6, looking at 8, and all of a sudden you see these 80s numbers pop up and 0 numbers pop up. I mean, like, guys will slip through the cracks if you identify guys too long and concentrate on too long. We still got to play our schemes. We still got to play the base defense, and we leverage is setting edges and leverage are 2 biggest keys on defense, because at any point, if you don't set an edge, that thing's going to run up the sideline and they're going to have their field goal unit come on to kick an extra point. And it's been known in a couple games they haven't probably played as well as they would have liked in the first half, and before you know it, one play becomes 1 touchdown, and then 2 series becomes 2 touchdowns, and before you know it, it was kind of a back and forth affair, and then you look up and it's 28-point spread. Montana's on top, so they played different types of styles throughout the course of the year. They've been at home for a better part of the year, which is good. But North Dakota's played them tight. It was a tight game, back and forth. Obviously Cal Poly a couple weeks ago played them tight, and then they kind of got out front and stayed out front. I mean, they've been in some battles. So these games have not all been 40-10 with starters rest in the second half. So they've won in different ways. Again, special teams is again one of their strengths. Is Coach Houck is a head coach. He's always going to lean into that realm. And when you got three ways to win, OD and special teams, you're okay if one of those teams is not playing, or one of those 3 tiers not playing their A game, because if the other 2 play their A game, boy, it can hop on you fast. And so we've got a work cut out for us this week for sure.
Well, then on the other side, obviously Montana has a lot of chaos on defense. You prepared for it many times in your career before, but with a young quarterback, any sort of, I guess, how do you go about preparing him for just maybe a lot of the different stuff that he'll see? Because probably a little different than a lot of the defenses he's prepared for in the past.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, essentially what we got to do is we kind of got to go back to the past where with all our quarterbacks here, you protect, you got a better chance to win. But we've got to put protections in. It's not just a physical protection. It's a coachable protection, and get in the right protections and maybe sometimes only have 2-man routes to be able to protect it and trust our 2 men to move the sticks and be able to deliver the mail. Because if we don't protect, we're not going to get the ball out. They provide a lot of eye candy in a different way from a defensive standpoint. They're relentless. They're relentless in their pursuit of the football, no matter who has it. It's been evident for years and years. They play the game at a higher clip than most people play it, and it's chaos, and it's controlled chaos. They know what they're doing. It doesn't look like much, and then all of a sudden, before you know it, it's a TFL for 6 yards, and all of a sudden they're 2nd and 16. Crowd gets involved. You can't hear yourself, and now it's 3rd and 19. Punt units getting on the mat, and the way they go. So we've got to stay in front of the sticks, but defensively it's a huge challenge, different than any other team in the conference. But the look of it is more chaotic than the feel of it. We got to be able to identify from a standpoint of putting our players in position, then putting them in position, then they take that position and physically take it upon. They're going to make their plays. They make their plays against everybody. We got to reduce and eliminate the bigger plays to get the fans involved with the momentum on their side.
Well, last thing for you while we have you here, because we're going to roll right into our interview with Jaylon Jenkins. What have you thought of what he's brought to your team? We probably should even have 5 picks because he got 1 taken away against Northern Iowa, but still we've been one of the best ball hawks in the league, and he looks like one of the most athletic safeties there on the back end. So what has he brought to your defense? What have you seen out of him so far this year?
Well, he's a stud. He's young. He prepares like a pro. He gets it. Not perfect by any stretch, but boy, I tell you what, he wants to be great, and he's chasing greatness, and he prepares to be great. And I think it's in this day and age with the personnel that we see, it's kind of going back and forth. Do you play with a nickel that can only cover? Do you play with a base linebacker that can only fit the run, or do you have a guy that can do both? And I think 31 can do both. He's played low at nickel. He's played high on the hash. He can do a lot of things. And the one thing you have to do in this league, probably in this game, you've got to be able to cover slots. That's the number one thing. And 31 can cover slots. He's done a good job. And then on top of that, getting his hands not just on the balls, but possessing the balls that are thrown to him. He's got PBUs and he's got interceptions. So he's not just a one-trick pony that way. Can also be around the line of scrimmage. Not the biggest of the bunch, but he put a ton of weight in the offseason knowing that we're going to lean on him for 12 games. And he's answered the call, week in and week out. And he's a phenomenal player. He's not the loudest person, so you're going to have to pry some talk out of him because he's not a huge talker, but he's a huge ball player for us. And one of the reasons why we've been so effective and been so consistent on defense this year.
Aaron Best here on Nuanez Net 102.9 ESPN Radio, or maybe you're listening on the Big Sky Breakdown podcast series. But either way, Coach, appreciate the time. Look forward to seeing you on Saturday, and to travel safe. Thanks for taking a minute.
Thanks, Colter. Appreciate it.
Being in this industry since I was in college, one of the things I think we take the most pride in is Aspen Sound's been such a presence in Missoula for almost 40 years. The cool parts about our job is people always ask, what do you do for a living? I sell fun, whether it's as simple as window tints all the way up to integrating a backup camera into a factory screen. I'm pretty excited about the options that we can
Shine Beer Sanctuary is leading the charge when it comes to promoting beer culture in Montana. Located at the corner of Church and Main and downtown Bozeman, the locally owned and operated tap house and bottle shop has the best beer selection in the Treasure State. The bar has 32 rotating beers on tap with everything from Duvel to local ciders, gluten-free beers, and non-alcoholic options. The bottle shop has more than 400 beer offerings from all over the world, and Shine offers Cicerone-trained beer guides. Come enjoy beer heaven at Shine Beer Sanctuary in Bozeman.
Pump It Up Rewards Plus program and never pay full price for fuel again.
Save 5 cents on every gallon every day at any town pump across Montana.
Plus, earn and redeem points on your favorite in-store items to get free stuff with our clubs.
Stop in and pick up a rewards card. Download the Pump It Up Rewards Plus app today.
Or visit townpump.com/rewards to register and start saving.
Right down the road, pump it up, oh yeah.
Around the Big Sky and football continues. We're joined now by Eastern Washington nickel/safety Jaylon Jenkins, having one of the best seasons in the Big Sky, leading the league in picks, and Eastern Washington in Missoula to take on second-ranked Montana on Saturday. Jaylon, thanks for being here, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Just came from class. Had some physics. That stuff.
Wow.
It's tough.
Yeah, physics, man. So what are you majoring in that makes you take a physics class?
Exercise science. I don't know how I get to physics, but it's a part of the degree. So
man,
I'd be trying my best.
Only bad grade I ever got in college was taking astronomy because that was physics too. And I thought it'd be cool learning about space, and then all of a sudden it's like the craziest math I've ever done in my life.
Yeah, brutal, I don't know what this formula is. I don't know what's going on.
Well, good. Well, how's things going just in general? I mean, you guys are had an interesting season because I watched you in Bozeman, and I thought, wow, okay, this team might be in a little trouble. But then not so much. You guys have been competitive and won some games since then. So tell me about that. How was that? How much was that a turning point of your year, and how were you guys able to then go on a 3-game winning streak after the conference opened?
I feel like Bozeman, that was just a rough game as a team. We weren't really on our A game that game. But we came up with a new, I think it was Portland State game. We kind of bought into this new identity called Joy Boys. We're just out there just having fun, playing fast, playing physical. And so I feel like that was a big change. And then also just execution of our defense in practice. I feel like after Montana State game, you take a loss like that, it's definitely ramped up in practice. Coaches are on you. And so just being able to kind of take that and just kind of embrace it and take the coaching and just get better.
Well, certainly you guys have made some strides, and I think defensively you guys are playing really well right now. So how would you describe it? What's been the things that have gone into your defensive success?
Definitely just execution, like execution, like in our run fits, especially like, because I feel like that was something that we kind of like, we weren't as detailed in like the year before. And so like being able to execute our run fits and just play fast and just have fun with each other out there on the field, like practice, we're out there having fun. And so like I feel like that just kind of leads into the game. And when you're having fun, you play better. And so you
just got done talking to Coach Best too, and he said that they simplified some stuff for you guys defensively too.
Yeah.
You know, verbiage and some scheme stuff. So does that help you? I mean, that must help you play faster.
Yes, for sure. Like last year it was pretty difficult to play fast because we had so many different packages, so many different things we had to remember. And so like this year, it's definitely way more simplified. We got a couple calls and we make just adjustments based on the call or like on formation. And then we just play fast off of that. And so we just have fun.
Tell me about just your path to Eastern Washington, because it's amazing how many guys have come from your neck of the woods to the Big Sky. You know, we do podcasts every week with Montana State, Idaho. We interview you guys throughout the year as well. There's just a ton of guys from the west side of Washington, but specifically from the Federal Way, SeaTac, Tacoma area. So why do you think there's so many great football players that come from there?
I would say probably just the type of guys that like West Side produces. I feel like pretty like a lot of guys over there are super athletic, fast, long, and kind of go under the radar sometimes.
Yeah.
So I feel like that, and just Eastern just capitalizing off of it, and just capitalizing off of those guys that just aren't looked at that much.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy that it has remained sort of underrated area to recruit, right? I mean, there's so many guys that just kind of fall through the cracks. I know UW gets like the first, 3 or 4 guys, but then everybody else, they're just there for the Big Sky to go get. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. Keaton Kernan, who contributes at Skyline Sports, he's a Federal Way guy too, and he's always talking about that same thing. He's talking about. I think you guys are tough too, right? I mean, I think that's part of it. I think the toughness translates big time to football.
For sure.
For you, what's gone into, I guess, first of all, finish just your story about coming to Eastern Washington. What were the main draws for you to come to Cheney, and what led you there to EWU?
I love the coaching staff, and I felt like it was like family here. It's like just the togetherness of just the community and the coaching staff, and just like it gives a family feel, and it made me feel at home and comfortable. And so I feel like that was the main draw coming here. And also I like the red field and just the history behind Eastern, like just all the big time players that came out of here.
Is it will you marry me in your future? Or maybe you do it all over again? Hi, I'm Brian Toon with Jewelry Design Center, inviting you to come see the largest selection of Will You Marry Me in the state of Montana. The brightest diamonds of every shape and size, unique settings built to last, and skilled jewelers on site offering free sizing and maintenance for life. Because that's how long we want to be your jeweler. Jewelry Design Center in Missoula, on Brooks, across from the Montana Club.
And I know you redshirted, and then you played some snaps last year, but this year a more elevated role. So what's got into that? How have you been able to sort of rise your level of play, and what's it been like just being a big time contributor for the defense?
Yes, I feel like a big part is just having the confidence, knowing that you can go out there and perform at a high level. And then I feel like what leads to that confidence is just like extra preparation, like just throughout the year, just putting in extra work, like extra film, extra just skill work, working on, your technique and all that stuff, extra time in the weight room. Like the big thing for me was like putting on weight this year.
Right.
Cause like last year I was probably smooth, like 185. But this year I started the year off around like 200. And then it's kind of been wavering throughout the year, but just like putting on weight, being able to play that many snaps.
Yeah. Well, so the spot you're playing to so often, you got to be in the box, right? So that weight probably is an essential part of it.
Yes. Yeah. Nickel, taking on tight ends and linemen, pulling guards, just being able to just near foot secure, set the edge, and do stuff like that, you definitely got to put on some weight because, yeah, it's not very fun.
But learning to do that, you're learning to play in the box, but then also having the coverage skills like you do to cover some of these slot receivers. What are the challenges of that, and have you been able to reach such a high level of being able to do that?
I feel like big challenge is just being big enough to be able to do that, but then also being able to be quick and to be able to move, stay in front of receivers. It's like, I feel like a big part is like just being strong for your weight. It's like, boom, I don't know like how to explain it, but like strength wise towards your weight, being able to move and being able to do all those things, and just, I don't know. Also, being able to, know the coverage, but also know the run fits. And so like a big part is like mental. It's like knowing both sides of the defense, like knowing what the D line is doing, but also knowing, what your safety and your corners are doing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been interesting to watch that spot evolve. I mean, it's one of the things that's changed the most to me in my career covering college football, right? Because it used to be every once in a while a team would roll a nickel out there, but it was basically just like the third corner, and he was just out there to, cover the third best receiver. But now it's like, first of all, some of the best receivers in the country are the guys that play in the slot, right? So you're getting challenged all the time, and you're always on the field. It's interesting to watch that position evolve. It's been fascinating. Tell me about the matchup with Montana. Then you mentioned, I mean, a lot of times you're going up against tight ends. Montana's got a bunch of them. They come at you in waves, but they also have one of the best slots in the country. Who, as a guy that used to be one of your teammates, so tell me about the challenges of preparing for the Grizzlies.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like they got a bunch of weapons, and so just being able to, sit there, play the slot because he's pretty quick both ways, but then also being able to take on big old tight ends, and their tight ends are pretty aggressive, pretty tough, and so just being able to do both and being ready to do both, and so.
What do you think of just this opportunity you guys have coming to Missoula, playing one of the best venues in the country, but also playing against, one of the top teams in the country? How are you guys approaching this, and how's the preparation gone so far this week?
It's exciting for sure. Just being able to go play them at their place, one of the most electric in the FCS. Just going over there and being prepared. We've had a good week of preparation so far. Still need to finish out the week, but just coming in feeling confident and just playing ball.
Well, it should be a fun afternoon in Missoula, and we appreciate you helping us preview it a little bit. Jaylon Jenkins here on Nuanez Now, as well as the Big Sky Breakdown podcast series. Thanks for doing it, man. Appreciate it. Safe travels, and we'll see you on Saturday.
Yeah, thank you.